come back to Ms. Valentine. Is Claudia Hill present?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you would please just go ahead, Ms. Hill.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claudia Hill, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of problems I'm facing with employers at RRHA Development and Housing. For number one, the value stated that y'all are committed to the concept that the public, as our customers, deserves honest consideration, professional conduct, and respect regarding all government activities. We believe that our reputation for integrity, credibility, and sensitivity to employee and citizens' needs is key assets. The problem I'm having is that I've been on Section 8 since 1996. I lived in, had one landlord. I've been facing problems with going to recertification, not a proper recertification. My information is being passed on to someone that entered the building, not put inside of a box like the other ones. I called pertaining to this matter. They told me that for the last 2 weeks I've had a total of 4 different workers not sending letters but calling me on my phone, asking me to send in certain confidential information. I've called, I know ever since about a year or two, speaking to people in this building about the people across the street. Nothing was being done. They're telling me for 3 years, you're supposed to, every year, have an inspection done for your home. For the last 3 years, I have been having to take upon myself to notify RRHA Development that no, I have not received a letter for inspection, okay? Instead of them sending me a letter of inspection, I'm getting letters of termination. I have exactly, within the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have received a total of nearly 8 letters of termination of my lease. I brought this to Mr. Scott's attention. I spoke with him. I've spoken with Ms. Shawn Williams about this. I've been called on the phone, put on speakerphone with other people in the office speaking to me about my personal confidential information. Also, on March the 30th, I woke up with a peculiar smell in my home. I had a sore throat, burning eyes, so I contacted my father for him to come to my house to smell the fumes. Come to find out, I had a propane gas leak. I notified RRHA Development, I notified the landlord, I notified AmeriGas. AmeriGas came out, told me, yes, I have a leak. They left the stove on, they left my tank on, but they tagged it and said it was too bad to be replaced, they was not going to fill it up. Okay, I notified Ms. Shawn Williams, who is the director. Nothing was done. They came out on April the 12th. They removed, I had to call the city in order for them to shut the gas off from in my home and the line on the tank. I spoke, also, I've called to speak with Mrs. Crocker. I had to call the city. The city had to send their supervisor out to shut my gas off inside of my home as well as to the tank. I still lived in that home from that time up till April the 12th when the landlord had to replace my stove and replace my tank. I had a problem with Mr. Sandloff coming into an interview process of mine, yelling at me, telling me that if I do not replace that stove and that gas tank, then they're going to terminate my lease the next day within 24 hours. I went over to AmeriGas. They told me they don't know why RRHA Development is putting me in the middle of it. It's an issue with AmeriGas and the landlord. I spoke with Mr. Scott, who called me on my cell phone, put me on loudspeaker with Mrs. Williams and I don't know who else in the meeting. Nothing was resolved. I had to call to set up an appointment to speak with Mr. Hill. I did speak with Mr. Hill today. Mr. Hill resolved a lot of my issues. The problem I'm having is that I feel like they put my life in danger. Nothing was done. I stayed in that house from March the 30th up to April the 12th with a propane gas leak in my home. I was told that during the recertification period where I stated that a female came to the inside, my folder was not put in the box where the rest of them was, it was handed to this female. I had a problem with that because that's my personal confidential information with my social security number on it and everything. The They told me that Mrs. Ingram was my worker, come to find out she's a supervisor. Then they told me Mr. Hunt was my worker. Then they told me Mrs. McCargo was my worker. Now I got a letter of termination again of my lease from a Mrs. Brimby. No phone call, no nothing. I asked her, how did she get my information? Because nobody sent me a letter. Nobody called me pertaining to changing workers. So I'm getting termination of leases for doing Richard Redevelopment's job, notifying them that, hey, you know, y'all not sending me inspection letters. Instead of them thanking me, no, they send me letters of termination. I have them in my bag. I have tons of paperwork for them. Nothing is being done. I sent a letter asking them to let me move. I did not have any response back from anyone until I met with Mr. Hill on today, who's gonna offer me another voucher next week. Other than that, they don't try to resolve any problems. They only yell out. I feel like they have violated my rights because my personal and confidential information should be between me and a worker, not me having a different worker every day. So, I mean, you know, they need to do their job. They don't hold up to ownership. Another thing, I was terminated from my position.
Hill, I wanted to remind you our rules are 3 minutes. I think you're close to 10. I would appreciate it if you would conclude your remarks, and I will follow up with Mr. Scott and Mr. Hill.
Okay, because I was told to sign a zero income verification form. I did not fill that out. I was given a 9-page questionnaire asking me, do I get my hair fixed, do I get my nails fixed? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
You're welcome.
Ms. Valentine.